Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the sports betting show hosted by a real statistics professor. First off, if you've been here with us for any while, this is a new look for you because, Jared, first off, you're in a new location. Your audio might sound not great, so I want to warn everybody up front. The audio is not perfect, but also like the backwards hat, I'm a little confused here.
Yeah, this is vacation, cousin Jared. So vacationing in Florida this week, and so I may be taking off from some other duties, but not taking off from this because this is fun. Why would I want to skip out on this? So different location, different setup, a little more relaxed, cousin Jared, than what you're used to seeing, but still here to pick some winners.
Except for the fact that I feel like the story you told me before we came on, I feel like the viewers want to hear the quick version of that just because you say relaxing vacation, cousin Jared, but it didn't sound like your vacation started off that way. Exactly.
It did not. Yeah, about 3:30 this morning, we were woken up by sheriff's deputies banging on our door because there was a house on fire very nearby us, and obviously they wanted to ensure our safety, and so we had to get out of the house until they could put out the house that was on fire nearby us. About an hour with two kids, 5 years and younger. That was not a pleasant experience. 3:30 in the morning, but everybody's safe. People whose house caught on fire, they got out fine. So as good as an outcome as you could have hoped for given the circumstances. But yeah, after that, a very relaxing day.
And everyone knows that small kids, do so well with being awake at, a time like 3:00 when they're not supposed to be awake, that they're always very compliant and everything. So that's obviously fun. Recap here. I got Friday and Saturday recap on the screen. We'll do Sunday, Monday recap for tomorrow because there's not many Monday games. So otherwise there will be very little data there, but it's been continuing great times. I'm terrible at marketing. I don't know what else to say other than join us on Dub Club and you spend a little bit of money and you'll make way more than you spend. And that's really the best sales pitch I can get. The play of the day and the extra credit picks just keep chugging along, slow and steady. The making us money. The free show picks on here were great. The A grades have been good. The model B grades have been really good. We're over a month now of data since we redefined the grading structure, and it continues to go really well. I don't know what else there is to say other than just again, join us on Dub Club. You will pay a little bit of money, but the reason why is it's worth that, and you will recoup that in your gambling wins. You'll get Discord chat, access to chit chat with a bunch of us, learn more picks on WNBA, which WNBA picks that we've got going on Discord have been going really well. A bunch of details, a bunch of other projections, types of plays, first fives. I mean, just so many fun things over there on Dub Club. Cousin Jared, what else did I forget to say that I should have said because I'm a terrible salesperson?
The ROI on your Dub Club membership is very high.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And if you're interested in just the play of the day, there's just kind of package for that as well. So a lot of ways to support the show and recoup your money and more if you're interested. So quick ground rules here. Of course, pickswiththeprofessor.com/new will get you those reminders about the community rules, information about the model. It is a player-based model. Ratings reflect the current roster makeup. The average grade is 100. Higher implies more runs. So for pitchers, that's bad. If you're above 100, for hitting, that's good. We are projecting an average game. One game, we have no idea what will happen, unfortunately. And so we're going to look dead right, dead wrong, dead crazy on a bunch of these. Sometimes we look dead crazy, dead wrong, but that doesn't mean we win or lose. We just ignore the outlier wins and we focus on the long-term averages. When we say 55% winner, what that means is the team will win probably about 11 out of 20 times. And that tells us what price to bet at so that we can ensure long-term profitability. We've been doing that here for years. If you've been with us, there's really no reason to question the methodology at this point. But of course, as always, take what you like and I'll leave the rest. We have a Tuesday with a full slate of games. Unfortunately, no day games because, again, MLB hates kids in the summer. It makes no sense to me, but that's not really why we're here to discuss why there aren't day games every day throughout the summer, as there should be. So we'll start off here at 7:10 p.m. Eastern with the Phillies and the Red Sox. A slightly cool night in Boston, at least for our Southern boy standards. Probably a pretty nice night if you're from that direction. Mid-60s to start, low 60s to close, slight breeze, and obviously a hitter-friendly ballpark. Zach Wheeler and Cutter Crawford. Zach Wheeler ranks number 8 among active starting pitchers. I don't want that to be the first thing you see and take away and think things are crazy, because the difference between number 8 and number 4 is like a gust of wind. He's very, very, very good. There's really nothing else to say about that. And he just falls rounding error behind a couple of other really good pitchers. 2.23 ERA. He's not that good. The underlying metrics don't quite support that. But a 3.25 xFIP is about where he projects, and that is dang good to have an xFIP in the low threes. He's been doing it for a while now. He's one of the best pitchers in the game. I'm not breaking any news there. Cutter Crawford, 3.51 ERA. But as I said with Wheeler, the underlying metrics don't overly support that either. 4.17 xFIP, which isn't terrible. I would say Crawford's good, but I think the gap between these starting pitchers is fairly large. The gap between these offenses is fairly large too, as we have well seen this season. The Phillies have been insanely good. One of the best teams in baseball. Obviously, their record is really good, but it's not a fluke. We love their starting pitching. Their offense continues to look better and better. Their relievers are solid despite Alvarado's blow up in London. And the Red Sox, not a bad team, good bullpen, but the offense is just not there. We've got the Phillies winning 65% of the time. That makes the threshold for this being a great pick, according to the model, minus 166. Because in general, we're going to lock in the Phillies at minus 159. Tell us more.
Crawford was a guy that Sideline was especially high on at the beginning of the season. We were backing the Red Sox in a lot of games that Crawford started. It's kind of leveled out a little bit recently, but the fact that Sideline has kind of made the adjustment on Crawford, and it's telling me to back one of the best pitchers in baseball. We allude to it quite often, but usually there's not very much value when you get aces going like this because the market knows how good they are. Generally, a lot of that value is kind of sucked up. And so here, if you're telling me to back one of the best teams in baseball, one of the best pitchers in baseball on the mound, not going to pass up that opportunity, especially against this Red Sox team. That's just, they're fine, but not anything more than fine.
Yeah, I was listening to a Red Sox broadcast over the weekend, like last week, and they were discussing, I don't even remember which hitter exactly at this point. It might have been Ref Snyder. I don't remember exactly, but they were like, on a really good contending playoff team, this guy's a great fourth outfielder. And whoever it was hitting like 4-hole that day for the Red Sox. I was like, that says a lot. Like I'm reading between the lines of what you're saying. And you're telling me a lot. If he's your cleanup batter this day or 3-hole hitter or whatever it was, and you're telling me as a broadcaster who watches this team a lot that you think he's really a fourth outfielder on a contending team, that's all I need to know about this offense. And that's what the model's saying. But I think you make a great point there. We talk about it all the time. Really good teams, really good pitchers. We often pass on. It's not popular, but we often pass on because the price is just so high that in the long run, while you will win a lot of bets backing good teams and good pitching, the price you will pay, you will lose a lot when you lose, and it won't necessarily be profitable. So anytime, as you mentioned, we get a chance to back a really good team like the Phillies, a really good pitcher like Wheeler, for so long we were just passing on these Philly games because we were like, they're really good, but it's priced too high. And now it's like, hey, if we've got value on it, it's like, absolutely. No problem backing them. A follow-up question for you on this real quick, because in Jared, we talk about sometimes steep prices, and I mentioned before, you've talked about it. Your kind of rule of thumb a lot of times, if it starts with a 1, you can plant the money line. Otherwise, you're looking for a run line. We do like run lines with road teams more often. Of course, that's just for comfortability. It's priced into the book. So you're not really getting magical edge that the books don't know about. It's just about being comfortable with your plays. Are you looking at a potential run line on something like this, or a -1, or are you perfectly happy with minus 159? Do you have any other thoughts on that?
I'm perfectly happy with minus 159. I think with the point where I would start considering that if it got up to like minus 175, minus 180, that's where I would consider it. And like you said, definitely if it got to like minus 200, that's where it's almost, depending on the circumstances, almost always, either a -1 or a run line play. But here, I think minus 159, I'm perfectly comfortable with just playing this on the money line.
And of course, I want to reiterate to our viewer that mathematically speaking, there's nothing wrong with playing minus 200, and they can have value. It's just, you run a little bit extra risk the way the variance is involved on that. Like, you just want to be really sure about it because that can be dicey territory. Many of you sports bettors are well aware of that. So I don't want to say that minus 200 plays can't have value. They absolutely can. There is one today here as we're recording this on Monday that I think, or maybe going into Tuesday, I can't remember, that we were talking about that does have value, but that doesn't mean it's still not we have to just treat it with caution, because as you get towards those, it can really be big bankroll busters. And so we have to just think about maybe other ways to try to find value. It's not necessarily always as easy as going to the run line, but sometimes you have to get creative with the higher odds. We like Phillies minus 159, great value. But of course, as always, shop around, find the best price. Every nickel you save, every dime you save will make a big difference in the long run. You should have multiple books in your account. If you don't have an account there yet, at BetUS, check them out today. 125% bonus on your first ever 3 deposits, up to $2,000 a piece. That link's in the show description.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
We're going to return to some totals here as I revamped the slides to make them a little bit better, cleaner, put more on one slide and whatnot, and just try to make things, again, always easy to digest. I hadn't coded in a way to do totals yet, but today was the day that I felt like we had to do that because there are two absolutely great total picks that I wanted to make sure we got out there here for Tuesday. The first one is Yankees and the Royals. Yankees, one of the best offenses in baseball. The Royals offense, the model still has them on the south side of average, thinking that they score a lot of runs largely because the park that they play in is so hitter friendly. I don't love the Royals offense, but they can score at home because that park, and that's where we're at here. We're in Kansas City for this one. So we are expecting a lot of runs. Weather-wise, it lines up for it as well, as we already have a hitter-friendly ballpark, but a slightly warmer and better hitting day than average. The park factor alone would increase the runs by 10%, but the fact that the overall adjustment is 15% indicates that we like this environment. Low 80s to start, upper 70s to close, and about a 5 to 10 mile an hour wind blowing out. Marcus Stroman, 3.04 ERA, but the underlying metrics do not support it. I am dying on this hill with him that I don't think he's that good. 483 FIP, 449 xFIP reminds me a lot of Tyler Anderson, who I talked about a lot over the weekend, saying, I really am not buying this. I don't think it's for real. And sure enough, the Astros lit him up a little bit. He got lucky to only give up the 4 runs that he did in an easy Astros victory for us. And I think it's the same thing with Stroman. I don't think Stroman's bad. I think he's about average, and I think this ERA makes him look better than he is, but he's just an average pitcher. The Yankees are really good because of their bats. That helps us for the over. The Royals bullpen, very questionable. You saw that a little bit over the weekend here, especially on Sunday. Brady Singer's been very good this year. We've talked about the return of Brady Singer here. 2.76 ERA, probably not quite that good with the underlying metrics more in the mid threes. But I mean, having Singer at number 31 is quite the return from him, and we're pretty high on him. And the model still says that we're expecting closer to 10 runs than anything. Over 8.5 is an insanely good pick on this one, because, Jared, it would not shock me if this is 9.5 by the time that the game gets here and people realize, oh, this weather is going to be very favorable for hitters, and there should be a lot of runs. I don't know why this isn't 9.5. I think they should dare you to go over at 9.5, dare you to go under in this park in these conditions at 9.5. 8.5 to me feels like a gift. Love this over, Cousin Jared. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree with everything that you just said. Kauffman Stadium in the summer when it starts warming up, or really any time that you can, the weather is at all kind of increasing the expected number of runs. That park already is projecting number of runs, and if you're getting from the weather, that just kind of is the icing on the cake here. We've talked about the Royals or at least I've talked about the Royals on the road multiple times this year. I don't feel comfortable with on the road. Completely feel comfortable that at home they're going to put up some runs. And to your point on Singer, like, love what Singer has done so far this year, but the Yankees offense is really good. Like, they're going to find a way to score some runs. So I think the Yankees are going to get theirs. I think the Royals at home are going to get theirs. And then you can get into both of these bullpens, which are just they're just nothing to write home about. And so I'm like you, I would go grab this now as quickly as possible. As soon as this comes out, I would grab this, just because this could be 9, which, okay, still love it over 9 personally. If you get to 9.5, it's kind of like, I don't know. At that point, it loses a lot of its value.
You want that push protection on 9, considering how possible that is to land there. You want to at least not lose if it gets to 4-4. The benefit of over 8.5, 4-4 means we're winners, which is great. I think the Yankees bullpen going in the right direction, getting a little healthier, but some of the injuries, some of the pitching in good situations has made their bullpen not look as good maybe as their ERA, but going in the right direction, at least with regards to trying to get a little more healthy. But I think the biggest thing here is we saw the Yankees in a pitcher-friendly stadium in Yankee Stadium on Friday night against the Dodgers in a slightly pitcher-friendly night, really struggle to score runs. But then you saw them Sunday, the weather was a lot better. We loved the over on Sunday Night Baseball, and they tattooed one of the best pitchers in baseball in Tyler Glasnow. And that's the thing, is when the weather is better, people don't realize just how much the weather can really affect things, how the park can affect things. If they could do that to Glasnow, Glasnow's a better pitcher than Singer. It's nothing against Singer. And the park in Kansas City is a much more hitter-friendly park. You never know what's going to happen in one game. But in general, as much as we like Singer, the Yankees offense is really, really good and should put up some runs. And like you said, we always trust KC to put up some runs at home, almost no matter who they're facing. And Stroman is, again, nothing to write home about. So a lot of reasons to love this over. This is priced way too low. Love this over 8.5. Like you said, still like it over 9. 9.5 is you've really just unfortunately missed that one at that point.
And to your point on the weather, like how big of an impact they're going to have, there are so many books that refuse to put totals out for like the Cubs just because that is one of the places where the weather is so extreme and has such a large impact that
hard to know.
the books don't even want to put lines out. So just if you want an example of how important weather is, like the Cubs home games are some of the biggest examples you can look at.
Yep. And of course, we always, as a reminder for people who may not be aware of this, the park factor has the average weather built in. So when we talk about a park factor, it's not saying the park factor across all average temperatures across baseball. It's across average temperatures for that park. So a slightly warmer day is already built into Kansas City, just like a slightly cooler day is already built into, say, Seattle. The fact that this weather is higher means this is a slightly warmer and more hitter-friendly day than the average Kansas City game is. Not quite like a Sunday 1 p.m. game that's 100 degrees. You're talking about 11, 12 runs easily, right? But this one's still a slightly better hitter-friendly day than normal, and it's already a hitter-friendly park, so over 8.5 are play there. And that'll wrap us up. I already kind of mentioned it here with the Mariners and the pitcher-friendly confines there, partially because of the weather, partially because of the park. But it'll be an even chillier night than usual, especially for June, mid-50s and about a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. So this is going to play really difficult to score runs on. The model's projecting 6.1 runs between Drew Thorpe and Brian Wu. Wu has been incredible. Not as good as that 1.07 ERA, probably not breaking news, but a 238 FIP. That's not anything to sneeze about. 370 xFIP, but he plays in a park that is going to suppress home runs a little bit. So the fact that his FIP is a little bit lower than his xFIP is kind of what I expect. Really good pitcher, having a great year, rating going in the right direction. If he keeps this up all season, he's going to be in the top 20 of pitchers. He looks really good. I was very surprised at this, but Drew Thorpe getting a 107 grade is interesting. There are two White Sox prospects who've come up in picks this year, Nastrini and Cannon. Nastrini got a terrible rating from Sideline from the start. It didn't like him. He's gotten lit up. The rating's gotten even worse, and he's been sent back to AAA. Cannon, the model, kind of put about where Thorpe is, said, maybe okay. He's okay, been still pitching there. And the model views Thorpe a lot like Cannon, a much more likely to succeed pitcher. Now, that's not to say he's good. He's never pitched in above AA, but his AA numbers last year and this year are really good. He might be okay. And in that park, okay is probably going to lead to a lot of success. Now, we are going to have to hold our breath anytime the White Sox relievers hit, but thankfully the White Sox offense isn't very good. The Mariners offense is probably getting a little bit too much love because guess what? They just came from playing a series in Kansas City. So, of course, they were going to score some runs. When they come back home, we don't expect a lot of runs. Under 7.5, it's got some juice. Under 7 is fine as well, depending on what you can get. This is another one kind of like the previous one where the number should be on the other side of this key number. They should set this at 6.5, dare you to go under, which would be a terrifying thing. If you do see a 6.5 there, I'd probably be looking more at first 5 under. But in this park, this night, these pitchers, these offenses, this is going to be hard to score some runs. Cousin Jared, what's your take on it?
Well, I feel like I can't say anything better than what you just said. Although that, like you said, with the park factors and how the weather's going to play, it's possible that could help Thorpe's performance, which is obviously when you're looking at this, you're going to say, well, the White Sox probably not going to score very many runs. If this game goes over, it's probably due to the Mariners. But you touched on something that I am specifically going to be looking at here, and that's the first 5. If I can get the White Sox relievers out of this game, that is something that I would like to do if I am looking at an under. So whenever the first 5 for this comes up, that's definitely something that I am going to have my eye on and would probably like that play. And I like this play a lot. But if the first 5 is 4, I definitely like that just as much, maybe a little bit more than this.
The Mariners this year are averaging 3.84 runs per game. That is 4th worst in baseball. Their offense is just okay. Mm-hmm. Part of that is this park at home. Like, it's the most pitcher-friendly ballpark in baseball. We've been hammering a lot of these unders, not necessarily every game, but like, what would you say, Cousin Jared, about half the time the Mariners play at home, we're either on the full game or the first 5 under. It's about a 50-50 proposition. Yep. And it's because they're not scoring runs at home because that park, they've got really good pitchers, so their pitchers aren't allowing runs at home. It's not to say that they don't have games that go over, but when you have these type of nights like this, it's the same thing with San Diego. When you get these the June gloom, right? Extra fog, cooler temperatures, whatever in San Diego, it's the same thing. You just got to take advantage of that. Like I said, this number should be 6.5. Under 7.5 is great. I'm like you, the first 5 is something to look at too. If it's 3.5, I think under still probably makes a lot of sense. But like you said, under 4 would be incredible to have that push protection on 4, because 5 runs early on is going to be really tough to do.
And if you get that 4, like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be like minus 130 or maybe minus 130. It's going to be super juiced, but in my opinion, well worth the juice if you can find it.
Yeah, that's the scary part on this one. I think is I think Thorpe will probably be okay again because that park. And again, I have some reasonable confidence in this projection, just knowing how the model separated Keenan from Mastrini from these White Sox prospects. But yeah, the relievers are the big concern there, and so that's why the first 5 might make a lot of sense. But everything else, going to get some value here on this under 7.5. Got some juice on it, but still love this play. Those are our 3 picks here for you today. Have more picks for you over on Dub Club, more leans over on Dub Club. Play of the day. All sorts of great information, picks on other sports as well. Sign up there if you have not yet. Otherwise, Cousin Jared, parting words to take us out.
I mean, college football is right around the corner, right? And I feel like with all the changes that there's been, how many times are we going to get the conferences wrong? We have got to really mind our P's and Q's on college football this season because there's going to be a lot of change to cover. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know that the Big Ten championship game is like almost assuredly going to be Ohio State and Michigan, or maybe Penn State or whatever. But like, if there is like a college football god out there, Rutgers versus either USC or UCLA, I'll be fine either way for the Big Ten championship game, just for the pure LOLs of that would be something. Now, I know that's never going to happen, but we could hope, right, about some really bonkers situation like that where we would all just be like, what are we even doing here? Because that would be something that really takes the cake. But yes, college football coming up soon. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, exciting. The TV partners changing. The SEC not playing at 2:30 on CBS anymore.
That's right.
I mean, there's just
everything's changing.
I mean, everything is different this year.
Everything we've known. Yeah. Obviously, still a few months away, but you can never prep too early for college football. And of course, still tons of money to make on baseball. Just getting going really good here. So again, sign up on Dub Club. You'll invest a little bit of money. You'll make it back and more. Would love to see you over there. If you already are, again, we always appreciate your support. Otherwise, though, thanks for watching. Best of luck. And remember, you can get your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.